We're live? Okay.
I feel like you start every live like that.
Yeah, the no countdown.
Yeah, it's just,
no
we're live? Oh, okay.
Countdown. All right, guys. So we are live. As a reminder, always go to coreteamhawaii.com. This is our beautiful upgraded website. And as you scroll down, you could click back into YouTube. That's a little redundant here, wouldn't you say? But you can go to book a call, buy with us, sell with us. This email is my assistant. So although they're timely, the best way, our most preferred way, and our web designer just has the best one here. It's on the bottom. Go to the very bottom and fill this out, and we'll get in contact with you. It goes into our system a little different way. And as a reminder, too, on this map, you can click on it, and it'll go to videos that otherwise are not on our they're not on the YouTube channel. The only way you can see them is there. And so it's Mahi and I talking about the different neighborhoods. So that's number one. Number two, wait, do I have the Aiden file? Are you going to put it up? Okay, you go put it up. So we're trying to start a new format where each week we highlight one of our agents. I know Aiden would probably prefer if it weren't him on the day that he's actually coming on the channel, but here we are. And so our clients, Bobby, Michelle, Aisha, and there's actually 1, 2, 3 other clients that are involved in this as well. And it's a multiple transaction deal, but they are the middle domino of 3 dominoes that have to fall. And so clients say he's been informative and he responds in a timely manner. He's been great. Sorry, I'm fighting a sneeze. He's been great. Aiden is very efficient and he's on it. He's really good. And we enjoy working with him and Derek. Thanks for putting me in there. Aiden's taking the lead on this. So that's all. Aiden, just a little self-brag while we let the live get started and let people populate into here.
Trickle in.
As a reminder, put all your questions, comments in the comment section, and we want to answer them for you. So today we're going to do a live. Today we're going to do an update on Hoopili, and for the last 15, 20 minutes, I was supposed to read the long email that you sent me about the update. But I was responding to clients and doing other work stuff. So I didn't actually read it. But I do know that there are some townhomes and some single families coming up, correct?
Correct.
So what else about that?
Yeah, so if, we're doing our due diligence before any of these homes are even built, appreciate it. I'm a little vertically challenged. What was I saying? Townhomes and single-family homes. So, we've got 4 different townhome projects upcoming in Ho'opili. And then we've got 2 single-family developments coming up as well.
We got a Ho'opili question already.
Oh.
I want to answer it because I want to reward the question askers in the comments.
Cool.
Will Nahele owners be able to sell to buyers using VA loan or forever be locked to a portfolio loan until the lawsuit ends? Jordan.
Is that your friend?
Today? No, that's not. No, that's not the Jordan I know. But Jordan, we could be friends. Do we know the answer indefinitely to that?
I do not know the answer to that.
I think that. Well, you know what, Kenny. Yes. The Nahele, there was the VA, like they couldn't buy VA, right? And then there was the workaround. But as of right now, still cannot buy VA. As of right now, still until the litigation ends. So the question is, will Nahele owners be able to sell to VA buyers, or forever be locked into portfolio loans until the lawsuit ends? TBD, right?
Forever portfolio at this point because it's just ongoing.
Yeah.
So it's in the court's hands. But,
it's in the court's hands.
The only thing that I would add is speaking to reps at Nahele, which we do pretty regularly. They were like, D.R. Horton stands by the product, and they're not looking for a type of ratification, they believe the product is correct.
Uh-huh.
The litigation isn't gonna.
Here, say that into this. So sorry,
Yeah.
I know that's probably a
Sorry.
bit of a silent moment for the people on the.
No, I'm too far away from the mic.
No, go for it. So what were we saying? It's seeming like until litigation ends, probably, right?
Until litigation ends is
Yeah.
probably the best answer and the clearest one.
And for just to interject, for new construction, I ran into this in California in the Inland Empire. I referred some clients, and they got to the day of closing, and the lender realized, oh, this phase is not VA approved. The day of closing, like 101 rookie mistake. That was nothing that we could have controlled with our referral. They chose the builder's lender, and the builder's lender, one of the newer lenders was taking care of them and didn't know what they were doing, so they didn't get it.
Didn't even go request.
Didn't
approval
even
for-
think about VA approval.
Wow.
So I guess they just don't do as much VA. But anyways, what I was going to interject is, it's not that all of Hoopili has some issue with
Correct.
lending a specific phase, specific building of sorts or buildings has a litigation issue, and so therefore that phase can't get VA lending right now.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's just litigation, and within that litigation, D.R. Horton stands by their product and how they build, and there's some individual case-by-case scenarios that.
What's the
have kind of-
litigation concerning?
It's something about foundation
Okay.
with those condo buildings, and there's not a whole lot of clarity on it because it's in court, so there's not a lot of public info until it gets a little bit more cleared up. But
Yeah.
I've asked the question, hey, is D.R. Horton doing anything for PR on this to, show that the product is worth? And they're like, anything that we do, inside or outside of the courts, makes us look like there's something wrong, and there's nothing wrong. Everything is to code. This is just an
I see.
individual case-by-case thing. So
So you say they stand by it. They're
Yeah.
saying there's nothing wrong with our building,
Right.
but this is something we have
Right.
to address.
because there's litigation.
That's very cryptic, though. I guess as a buyer, I'm like, so you got to sue for foundation? Well, there's nothing wrong.
Right.
I feel like I need to vet that more.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just strictly portfolio because there's litigation, and VA and government-backed loans generally are just going to step aside when there's anything like that going on. Whoever's right or wrong doesn't matter. They just step aside, and they're not going to come back in until it's cleared out of the courts.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Jordan, for that question. Aiden, we were talking about updates. What were we talking about?
Townhomes, 4 developments, 4 new ones.
Coming the next, couple years?
Well, starting to release at the end of this year.
Okay.
That's the projected date.
Projected
now,
date.
Things could move quicker, things could move slower, but the update we got yesterday was the end of the year.
Okay.
So out of the 4 projects, there's one that stands out differently. So it's different zoning, so you can do work live. So like those flex units,
Oh, they're going to be more flex units.
more flex units. Yep. That's going to be closer to Farrington Highway though, on the Farrington Highway side.
Okay.
That, you're going to have, I don't know how they're going to lay it out. They said similar layout. So we don't know if it's same as before or it's going to be, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
The
Well,
update
the
is
way
on
the
that.
flex units, what Aiden's referring to, they have these townhome communities where there's like corner unit, and then, I don't know, 5, 8, 10 in the middle, depending on the setup of the community. And the corner units, the last one we sold, the corner unit was the flex unit. And what you have is you have a garage, a downstairs area that is maybe 400 to 600 square foot with usually a room and a common space, like a living room and a bedroom.
Like a 1-bedroom.
So it could be treated like a little suite for, someone who can't walk up the stairs, or just someone who stays downstairs, and or you can use it as a commercial space. One thing to note on that, the way the property tax division looks at that is what is the highest and the best use. And so if you are using, the irritating part about that, and I've talked to the city about this, the people in this division, and they are, Derek, we get it, but we enforce it. We don't make the law, the rule. But you have 1,000 square foot place and 200 square foot of it is zoned for commercial because it's a mixed use. You end up paying property tax as a commercial use for the whole thing, for the whole 1,000 square foot. And that difference is not insignificant. That difference you're talking about, I think it's like 12.5%. Is it 8.5 or 12.5?
12.5 sounds.
I think it's 12.5 versus, 3.5. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. And so it's like quadruple the property tax because you are able to run a bento shop downstairs or a haircutting place downstairs or whatever.
Right.
Now, if you're not using it for that and you don't have an LLC, a business, an EIN attached to that, you're not paying GE tax for this business whose home address is that, then it's fine. But something to consider before you buy a flex unit like that. Let's say you are a CPA and you just have a home office. You're like, oh, this is great because I'll have my home office. It'll be downstairs. But like, that's where you receive your corporate mail. That's where your corporate minutes for your S Corp are done or whatever. Is it such that the city will all of a sudden deem your whole place, that you need to pay higher property tax? You're like, I don't receive clients. I don't do anything. It's just like if I owned a regular home and I worked in my living room or I claimed a bedroom as an office. But now it's a flex unit and it's zoned differently. So I don't want to go too deep into that because it's niche and it doesn't relate to everyone. Mm-hmm. But those are kind of some of those, nuanced and skilled things we think about.
Sure.
Okay, so releasing as soon as end of this year, fourth quarter this year, we'll say, as soon as Q4 this year. How about the single families? Might have some in a couple months?
Couple months, maybe even sooner than that. Right before we shift to single family, there are the one that was mixed use for business and living, and the other three are just strictly for residential use. So obviously, more people are going to be looking at these three. And end of this year, they both track to complete or at least release around the same time. If you guys have any questions about those, drop them.
You know what, Kenji? I'm looking at this live because I'm looking for your questions on here, right? Aiden and I have our screens pulled up. Mm-hmm. And I'm seeing how much bigger I am. But then Aiden still trashed me on leg day. That's unfortunate. Dang.
It's unfortunate.
I want to say you have less weight to lift. That's why.
Okay. Whatever helps you sleep at night, we'll just go with that one.
We'll go with that way.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
We'll hit the single family homes first, and then we'll get back to the questions.
Yeah, Ben, I see your comment, and we'll address the leasehold things. We're going to talk about the single family in Hoopili first.
Yeah. So there's two different types of single family homes that are going to be released in the next month or two. So the first version is going to be more of a smaller floor plan. It's going to be a CPR, so you're going to have a small HOA attached to that one as well. Pricing, HOA, and all of that changes all the way up to when they release it. So DR Horton or whoever, is going to send out the update. They're not going to say it until it's actually released. This has been tracking for a month or two from now. So pretty soon, if you're planning to buy a single family or want to buy an entry-level single family home that's brand new, probably now is the time to get your docs all in order, get a lender involved. Make sure you have a pre-approval letter on standby so that when these do release, you're good to go. Since it is a CPR, they have to follow a CPR law and have to release 50% of the development to the open public, which is going to be by newspaper. Here's the issue. So it's not going to be the first one will be in the newspaper and released the day before.
Okay.
So long as they release 50% of it. So say if they, release a small batch in the beginning, so long as by the last release they have released 50% by newspaper, that's okay. So my understanding is that it could possibly be released the day before, and then you can sit outside or wait outside Ho'opili. Or it might be the day of 8 a.m. The email drops and they say, get over here and go secure yourself a home.
Here, I wanna jump in and talk about how we address that. So there are some times in the market where interest rates are so low, there are so many buyers and so many people want to buy in Ho'opili that there are people sleeping outside in front of Ho'opili for days at a time, a week or more, up to 2 weeks. I think people have camped. They have like a tent sleeping in front of the sales office.
Mm-hmm.
We can't, I don't have the ability to do, as team leader, as business owner, I don't have the ability to commit a human to sleeping in a tent for 2 weeks to hold your spot. Now, what we have done, and Kenji went and met Aiden at the at the spot at Ho'opili.
Mm-hmm.
We have actually had multiple people. Aiden was the leader and slept overnight, to secure probable spots. I think we only ended up getting 1 out of 4. We had people sleeping for 4 spots.
Mm-hmm. Well, we secured 3, but
they backed out.
But they backed out. They were like, "Oh, that's not the one we wanted."
Yeah,
so we ended up getting 1. Yeah, but we secured 3 spots.
And then I paid these people, right? So in the end, that wasn't the best return. But we got our one client, the thing they wanted, and they didn't have to sleep all night there. And so within reason, we do our best, right? And we do more than most. And also, sometimes we get tipped off sooner. I'm just saying. I can't say it, but I'm just saying.
We may or may not be tipped off.
We may or may not know things that other people don't know at times. And so I still think it's advantageous to work with us. What I just because we are, straightforward and transparent, honest, I can't have someone sleep there for 2 weeks. And I feel like, leave me a comment. I feel like that's reasonable, right? But I know there are some people out there like, what you doing then if you're not sleeping at Ho'opili indefinitely until I get a house? That's okay. It would take someone who is incredibly unproductive to be able to justify that endeavor. You know what I mean?
Would you be able to refer that person?
I wouldn't be against that. Like,
No?
Derek, I heard you. I saw you on your live, and we straight up want the newest agent who has nothing better to do, who lives in Ho'opili and is willing to sleep for us. You know what we had done? We had a client. I knew him from like a decade ago in the Coast Guard base. Like, we did some jiu-jitsu back on the Coast Guard base.
Mm-hmm.
He's a pilot. And they came to us kind of for that. They're like, Derek, my best friend's an agent, but he kind of focuses on a, condo area. And we know that you guys, do a lot of Ho'opili. So can I work with you on this one? And I told him, I said, Chris, I can't commit someone to sleep there for 2 weeks though, or indefinitely. And he said, I tell you what, we will, with this one, it made sense. He's like, as many nights, because we knew the release was going to come soon. They had been doing releases after releases and there were people sleeping. He said, for as many nights as we can find someone to sleep at the Ho'opili sales office, I will pay them. The client, he's like, I will pay them. You help me source the people, find the people. I will pay them a fixed rate cash out of my pocket. And would you reimburse me for that? And I said, yeah. I'm not into, we have a lot of business expenses. We have employees. We have technology. We have expenses in a true business profit and loss statement with certain margins. And I'm not a big reimburser. However, it made business sense. It was fair. And he was, he's going to take that risk and exposure. And so we did that with Chris. But anyways, that's totally unique. And, we'll get into the questions after this. But anything else on single family?
The first the smaller CPR single family development will release a little before the second one. And the second one is going to be a larger floor plan, larger units, no CPR, so the HOA should be smaller. And again, we don't know the price yet until it's released. Just based on the information that we got, I think that second release is going to be a very popular one.
Yeah.
That might be people sleeping.
That might be some tent action.
Might be some tent action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We have some comments and some questions. Ben says, first Ben had said, hey from Oregon, love your channel and great content. Thanks. Ben, let me know what's the temperature and weather like in Oregon right now. He also said, still not understanding a leasehold situation and why someone would ever invest or remodel one of these homes where you don't actually own the land or a shared interest in the land. So 100 units in a condo, you own 1/100th of the land or whatever.
Is it still is there a situation where you can ever benefit? That's funny.
Yeah.
Because we actually underwrote one of those deals, right? Remember that one condo in
Salt
town?
Lake?
Was it Salt Lake? I thought it was town.
I've underwritten a few,
Okay.
but I mean, there's like two classic situations where I would do a leasehold. I'd almost never do one. Ben is right. When you don't own the land, if for residential especially, now leaseholds have a little bit different consideration when you're underwriting a commercial deal. Like you're going to open your trucking company and you get a 30-year leasehold, on the land or something. That's different. But for residential real estate, I almost never want to touch a leasehold.
Mhm.
There are two instances where I personally would consider it.
Cash flow?
If I'm cash flowing, so if I don't own the land, but there's something unique about it, like they just set up a wave pool and like all the beautiful men and women surf right there, and there's just all the reasons to be there, and I can all of a sudden cash flow that thing like crazy, a disproportionate amount to the rest of the market, then I could consider a leasehold. Now, I probably wouldn't do that. And when I've underwritten it, so I've looked at ones where I'm like, oh, this one will rent for more than others actually, and it only costs $200,000 or $400,000, and if the lease is for 25 more years, so if I look at the cash flow, I'll make $800,000 or something. Like I make extra money,
Right.
and so I'm like, that's cool. But, however, I'm missing out on one huge part of the real estate wealth building equation, and that is appreciation.
Arguably the most sought out on Oahu.
Part of the real estate equation, yeah. I'm able to cash flow, make some extra money, but that, I don't know, assumed 4% per year, even 3% at any rate, all of that appreciation compounding over 30 years, 20 years, I was missing out on that. So I just couldn't make sense of it. I could make more sense of, instead of 400,000 buying for 650, less cash flow, more appreciation, and holding a fee simple. So fee simple is just the regular real estate you think of where you own the land or a shared interest in the land. It just made more sense to buy fee simple, especially at my age where I'm going to be working anyway. So the other time I consider leasehold is if I were older, or let's say I'm not older, but I just have like wealth building isn't the goal, and I would just want to control something. Because what a leasehold is sort of like a glorified rental. So you control it for a long time. You can change the kitchen. You can put pink and blue walls if that's what you want to. Flamingos in the bathroom. Whatever you want to do, you can do that, but you're not building wealth. So if I just want to control something, if I just want to have something in Hawaii that I go to, a couple times a year for a month, I go for a month in the winter and a month in the summer or something, you could have a leasehold, control it for long term, and then you're not trying to leave money for anyone or a charity or a church, then go leasehold, because it's mostly a bad investment for wealth building anyways. You can invest in yourself. Vacations are a good investment for your soul, but for wealth building and your future wealth, it's not a good investment. All right. Off topic. This is Patrick. Off topic. How should a new salesperson approach brokerage for job interviews in Hawaii? Email, phone call, in person at broker office. I think it varies, but it depends on the brokerage. Some brokerages don't really have or use their office. The brokerages who their whole value proposition is the fact that they have an office, probably go there in person. Set up for efficiency, set up a call first, or have a phone call and set up an appointment first. So that way when you go there, you drive into town or you drive wherever, they'll be ready to have a full interview with you. But congratulations on getting your license, if that's what I'm hearing, that you're a brand new licensee. Ben, shakas, thank you. Or as, you know what Siri calls a shaka?
What?
This?
Don't tell me telephone.
I know, yeah. call me hand sign emoji.
Oh,
Like Aiden sent a call me hand sign emoji in a group.
I might be selling some shares of Apple.
I know. Sarah Johnson, do you have or have access to the floor plans for the newer Ho'opili builds and where they will be located? Do you, Aiden?
I do not, but we do have people in Ho'opili that can send that to us.
Might be able to get them?
Probably won't get them yet, but we'll probably be the first to know and get those releases sent to us.
Sarah, your name is familiar. Are you already in our system? Have we already connected? If not, then connect with us, and we'll put like a highlight alert for. We have this Ho'opili tag in our system, and so when we get something urgent Ho'opili or something relevant Ho'opili, we'll sort by this tag, and we find you. And
so yeah, if you're interested in new development Ho'opili, whether it be single family home or townhome, when you sign up on the website, let us know specifically that you're looking for single family homes or townhomes in Ho'opili or both, whichever one, so that when we do have that information, we can send it to you. Because if you just, sign up and don't say anything, you're going to go through the same process as everyone else does. But if you give that information to us up front, you'll be the first to know about the Ho'opili releases.
Raja. All right, how's it, core team? Larry Tran, how's it going? Your guy, Kenny, always bringing breaking news to their peeps. Mahalo. Yes, thank you, Larry. Larry's a longtime viewer and supporter and friend of the team.
Everybody shout out Larry.
Everyone shout out Larry.
The homie.
Will the new phase be prone to H1 freeway noise? I hope they build a wall to block noise. Even when they build a wall, if it's that close to the freeway, yes. I don't know if the newest. I know that previously when I looked deeply into the Ho'opili plans, as a team leader, often I'm doing other things and I'm not, it's something I haven't looked at in a long time. But when I previously looked at it, I thought they were trying to keep commercial stuff close to the freeway.
I don't
like
know.
Warehouses, commercial, and then come into residential.
Yeah, I don't know exactly,
Yeah.
but based on the timelines, there are buildings coming up closer to the freeway.
Yeah.
I think that could be the mixed use. So,
Okay.
yeah. If mixed use or residential townhomes are your thing, let us know. Sign up on the website, and then we can get you the information quick.
Cool. Patrick, you can reach out to us. We don't. Patrick's out. He's saying that he just passed the test and he's looking. Reach out to us. Register on the site. Charlotte will reach out to you. Let her know you were on the live and you're asking about real estate, a real estate team and or brokerage. We are not one of these teams that a lot of real estate teams, air quotes, they don't, in my opinion, function like a team. They just have people want to recruit a ton of people. And I don't want to get too into it, but often it's in hopes of making more money and having more fame. And it just results in less profitable chaos. That's not good for anyone, not the people involved nor the clients. And so a lot of teams are just like, yeah, come. Especially a brokerage. Very rarely a brokerage is going to tell you no. So they just, hire, recruit. That's not us. We are more like a basketball team, and the pieces have to fit and make sense. And so it may be that, the Denver Nuggets just beat the Lakers. And LeBron is a phenomenal player, maybe the best ever. But I bet you the Nuggets wouldn't want him on the team because it just wouldn't make sense for that team chemistry. Now, would you want LeBron for building a team? Like, sure. We're not going to get into debate saying he flops if you're a hooping fan or whatever. But it just has to make perfect sense for our team. And it has to make perfect sense for you. It's not going to, work reciprocally. So you can reach out to us is the point, Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
Ben said Corvallis mild. Scattered clouds with some sun today. Finally not raining. Is Corvallis, is that the place in Oregon? Or is that like a weather term?
I have never been to
What is it, Kenji?
Oregon.
Hour and a half south of Portland? Kenji went to Portland State University, so.
Oh.
All right. Thanks for keeping us updated on the latest Oahu real estate news. Sarah, we got you. Let us know if you have any other questions. Thanks for the insights. Thanks for the insights, guys. Definitely looking at it from an owner-occupied standpoint. So it seems leasehold isn't what we're looking for.
Leasehold will, out of the people that ask about leasehold, I would say almost all of them would go owner-occupied, fee simple. It takes a very specific and unique situation for someone to actually move forward with a leasehold.
Yeah. We've maybe done one or two ever. Maybe zero.
Really?
I don't know.
I've had a lot of conversations about leasehold, and they all, like, after we talk about it, they're like, oh, yeah, fee simple is the way to go.
I think I've sold one or two, but so here's the thing about leasehold. Sometimes the fee is available for purchase. So in a place like, why am I forgetting? Executive Center in town. Excuse me. In a place like that, you can purchase the fee. So the fee is available for purchase. So as a part of your purchase, let's say you're buying for $200,000, but if it were fee simple, it would otherwise be underwritten at $400,000. Let's just say you can purchase it for $400,000, and the lender in the process will, part of the loan goes to you buying out the fee, and so now you have a fee simple version of that. Could do that on single family in theory too. So if the single family were on a leasehold piece of land and the entity leasing it, or the family leasing it, depending on the situation, was willing to let the lease go and let you buy the land fee simple, that could be a part of the loan process. You
got a question, Derek? Can
Where?
you tell us what happened to your property in Puerto Rico?
Oh,
Being from there, I'm curious as to how that cash flow / investment went.
Puerto Rico. My property was in San Juan, and it was a fourplex. The way I got into it was weird. A friend wanted to basically cash out equity and get into something else, and I told him, the price you want for your investment doesn't make sense for me. And so the only way it would make sense for me is if you stayed in the deal. Like, I need you to manage it. Well, he was like, okay, we'll get the real estate attorney to sign over, X% of the property for you. So I bought into something that he already owned. As a version of like a HELOC partner for him. So it was like a joint venture. He had already owned it, and it cash flowed well. I got a 20% return, but the thing is he had a controlling stake. And so after a year, he's like, hey, I want to sell. And I was like, I should have known you wanted to sell. And lesson learned. I should have never got in the deal. The 20% that I purchased it for, the 20% return that I got, which I pay taxes on, I would have been better off doing some other creative things with that. I could have bought a truck, but and then written off the depreciation on the truck. But I did what I did. I made whatever return, and I learned some stuff in the process. So that's why I no longer have that property. Puerto Rico can cash flow well, but property management in Puerto is also very expensive. So property management's like standards like 20+%. And you're going to get these fourplexes that do need work. And then the property management fees are going to be eating up a lot of your cash flow. And I don't know if you're from San Juan, Nereida, but it's pockety. So there's parts of San Juan where, like, even if you're from there, you don't want to own and invest there, and you're not going to find a property manager that wants to help you there. And then there's parts that are on the fringes. So we're talking about D class versus C class when you're talking investing. Like, C class don't look too much different from D class, but the type of person you can attract is a long-term good tenant versus D class, talking about renting by the week you know. So it's a different thing.
Ben asks, can new buyers in Hawaii Kai or Kailua be competitive in buying a primary residence if they're financing versus paying cash?
Yeah.
A new buyer can be competitive when they're financing, depending on how much you're financing and what other offers you're going up against. Now, if you're, say 20% down on a property in Kailua and another offer comes in that's all cash, you may get booted out or maybe first position backup. But yes, if you're offering a price for the property that is acceptable to the seller or outbeats other offers, you can definitely be competitive when you're financing.
Competitive as in, is it even realistic? And all what Aiden said is the same, yeah. So let's talk about that. We've had clients recently and in the past, our clients range from business people who are self-employed and invest and look at Apple and manage employees and have a profit and loss statement and get it, kind of. And then from people who worked a government job since 18 and don't see it from a business lens and are like, why can't they just name a price and let me buy the house? This is very frustrating. And I understand all of the above. The counter to that emotion that we typically give is, if you were the seller and we were selling this asset for you, you would want us to wring every dollar out of it. And you would want to pick the offer that is the absolute strongest. And if you had the ability to create multiple offers, create competition in the open market, you would want us to do that. And so I'm sorry you lost this one, to our buyers. But it's not for lack of trying. It's not for lack of strategy or skill. We were just totally outgunned. Mm-hmm. The other people were $500,000 cash down on $1 million home.
Maybe offered higher.
Offered more money. Mm-hmm. Waived home inspection contingency. Waived survey. They just had an all-out superior offer with an amount of cash that ensures that seller need not worry about appraisal or anything else. Mm-hmm. We had, who was it with? Was it you or Kenny? We had an agent recently tell one of my agents, when it's a conventional loan, the appraisal doesn't matter. Oh, that was Kenny.
Not me.
And she was just wrong.
What conventional?
Conventional's
50% down?
Yeah. What she was attempting to say is that when you put enough down that the appraisal doesn't matter, but a conventional loan can be 5% down, 10% down, 15, 20. And even when it's 20, the appraisal matters. So I'll keep it brief. Buying $1 million home, putting $200,000 down, 20%. So it's $800,000. If it appraises at $1 million or above, we're all good. You have 20% of the purchase price down. They'll give you the $800,000. The $800,000 is the max loan they'll give you, right? Because $800,000 is 20 of the declared amount of $1 million. They'll give you 80%. Mm-hmm. It's not that they'll give you $800,000. They'll give you 80% of a thing, and the thing is currently $1 million. Well, if that home appraises at anything under $1 million, $990,000, $970,000. Now 80% of that value, 80% of $970,000 is no longer $800,000. Mm-hmm. And so in order for the seller to get the $1 million, the buyer would have to come up with a cash difference. And so appraisals definitely matter when it's conventional. And the reason that what prompted this is, can a buyer compete in Kailua and in Hawaii Kai? And it just depends. Now, when you say a new buyer, whether you're a new buyer or an experienced buyer, that doesn't matter as much. But if you're using that to refer to your loan product and your cash position, so if you're saying, hey, I'd like to buy FHA 3% down in Kailua in a competitive situation, chances are you're going to be outgunned. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're going 3% down FHA, 5% down FHA, in a non-competitive situation, in a non-competitive time in Kailua, and a non-competitive home in Kailua, then that offer can win. Because again, in the end, if the home is worth $1 million, whether it's half loan, mostly loan, all cash. As long as you get the $1 million in the end, the difference comes in how much are these contingencies, such as the appraisal contingency, going to matter in this escrow process. So if you got 15 offers, probably not. If you got one offer and you're 45 days on market, they welcome that FHA loan. Bring that FHA loan. We love FHA loans. FHA, did you tell you my dog's name is FHA? Bring it. That's the way it goes once you've been sitting on the market for a while.
Hi, guys. Do you recommend buying land on Oahu, a small-sized lot? Would that be a good investment? Thank you.
No, not typically. Building here is expensive, frustrating. Permitting process is frustrating, and people just rarely do it. When I hear about people buying land and building, it's typically at a bit of a luxury price point, but it just doesn't happen very often. And also, most of the land that's zoned for residential, it already has a house on Oahu, so it would be more of tearing down an old house. Yes, San Juan is actually not my favorite part of the island. I like the countryside. Thank you for the insight. You're very welcome. Dustin Matsura. Hi, guys. Just came across your live chat. Any success with cash flowing from long-term subletting on Oahu? Are you talking about like
Airbnb arbitrage?
Arbitrage, yeah. Is that? Are you talking about like an owner has a place for rent, you rent it on a 24-month lease, but you put in the terms that the owner will allow you to furnish it and rent it out to like corporate rentals or 30-day rentals. When you say subletting, it sounds like Airbnb arbitrage, short-term rental arbitrage.
So you're looking at like Waikiki, maybe an owner that no longer occupies the property and is renting it out on a long-term basis, but it is zoned for residential and resort, so that you can do short-term rentals, so that you can sign a lease with the owner saying that, yes, I will rent at market rate, whatever that is, for 1 year, 2 year, and then put in the special terms and say, hey, I'm going to sublet this out to someone. You furnish it, you hire a cleaner, and then you book it on Airbnb, and you rent that out on a hopefully weekly basis.
But it's either going to be likely 30 days
30
for
days.
most. If not, if it's in Waikiki or something, maybe less. But yeah.
And then you're going to need to pay the cleaner each time to clean and upkeep the property after someone vacates. You'll have to pay 2 taxes on the money that you do receive, and then hold some for CapEx.
Yeah.
So there is a possibility that you could do it. Maybe finding it off market would be better, so you can get better rates rather than someone that's on market. But definitely, do your due diligence. Look into how much it costs for cleaning for, X amount of square foot. If you're going to manage it yourself, or you're going to have someone boots on ground manage it for you, that's another 10, maybe 20% off the top.
We found that we don't like Airbnb managing. We don't like renting. It's interesting because I would like being a tour guide and showing tourists around or buyers, I like spreading the aloha. But then, so I'll like drive the bus talking to the microphone. This is Chinaman's hat over here or whatever. Like I could do that. Could you see me doing that?
No.
No? Why?
No. I could actually.
Well, I mean,
Take
no
it back.
offense, but I kind of, because I moved here halfway through my childhood and I was enamored with the old Hawaiian, Beach Boys and stuff. I like that kind of Hawaii nostalgia. But get back to the hotel and you complain that, like, you found a hair on the ground or something. I'm not that guy. I don't care, you know? And so I found that I don't like Airbnb hosting. And my wife does it, but I still have to participate. I have to, like, go do things and deal with people and stuff. Hasn't been my favorite.
I see.
So, Dustin, if you guys have any more questions, please let us know.
Yeah, that's a very cool question to answer. It's not one we get often, but something we talk about on the side a lot.
I was going to pursue it in Ko'olina.
Oh,
I was
high
going to.
stakes.
There's a guy I know that owns a place.
Mm-hmm.
Like 4 people bought it together, and they can't sell it because it went through a non-judicial foreclosure. And you can't get clean title, so the only way they could sell it is cash. You know, blah blah. And I was like, oh, if I rent it for a whatever term and I furnish it, I could cash flow it. I just have to manage it.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I look at that and I realize, well, I got to invest probably 10 to 15,000 in furnishing it, fixing it up, because I have to fix some stuff up too. 15 plus, and then I have to actively participate in it. And I'm like, well, at $2,000 a month in cash flow, that'll take me 13 and a half months to break even on the $15,000 furnishing and fixing up. So for 13 months, and that's actually, you know, we can talk about taxes. It might take longer. So I might work for like 2 years to break even is my point. And I'm like, and then I have to actively take that on as a job. I'd be better off making more live videos for the people and selling someone a home than doing that. So I've found that it's not a right fit for me.
It's not your highest and best use.
It's not my highest and best use. It's not. Yeah, my highest and best use is probably helping Core Team Hawaii grow and or growing another Core Team Hawaii, maybe. That's secret plans.
Secret plans.
Where's everyone from? Dustin Matsura. Wait, do you assume Dustin's from here?
I do.
You're just making that assumption now.
Yeah.
What? Okay, well, let's be ridiculous.
Okay.
Where if Dustin Matsura is
Oh
from
my gosh.
Oahu,
Okay.
where is he from on Oahu?
Aiea, Pearl City, or Moanalua. It's my 3.
So he grad Aiea Pro City or Monaco.
Yeah, that's my 3 right there. Dustin, let us know.
Dustin, let us know.
Am I right?
I think Dustin grew up town and went to Marino.
Ooh, Marino. What was that? Marino.
Yeah.
Jordan's from Pro City.
Jordan is from Pro City. Nereda is from Aguarilla, Puerto Rico. No, probably not. That's out there.
Las Vegas. Steve from Las Vegas.
Steve, I was thinking Jordan. Oh, did Jordan say Pro City? Or you guessed that?
No. I was guessing Dustin.
Oh.
Jordan's from Pro City.
What circumstances would an interest-only ARM loan be better than a fixed-rate conventional at today's current rates? The objective would be the lowest monthly payment, not paying down the loan. Pro City. Oh,
He is
Dustin
from
said
Pro
Pro
City.
City. Yeah. I mean, that I was trying to, couldn't say same answer,
That's fair.
Interest-only loan. You want to touch on that?
Interest only
Have
arm.
you ever really underwritten an interest-only?
I have the interest only arm better in today's market versus current rates. Objective, lower monthly cost.
Oh, and he grad IAEA.
Okay, if
What year, Dustin, you grad IAEA?
an interest only arm, what would that be? Like you're paying less because you're only paying interest, so like you're doing like a reno and you'd want to hold more cash and not expend all of that on the monthly, and then be able to renovate the property and then refinance it into a conventional loan.
Or just exit.
Exit.
So an interest-only loan, much less an ARM, which adds another layer of risk and consideration. When you get a loan for a house, there's PITI, maybe also an HOA, but let's just say it's a house, no association, PITI. What is PITI, Ada?
Principal, interest, taxes, and insurance.
Right. So for Steven, he's going to own this home, and of the 4, he's going to pay
The first
taxes.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to pay insurance. He's going to pay interest,
But not principal.
but not principal. So the big one I'm not going to put that finger back up. Interest. He's paying an interest-only loan. So his payment will be drastically less because there's a whole big chunk that he's not paying, which is principal. But he'll also pay more in interest, and he'll pay only interest. So one of the things when underwriting your exits on a deal is how long does it take for you to get to certain equity positions? And part of that equity position is you paying down the loan over time. Mm-hmm. But if right now, say you have a payment of $5,000, and we can reverse engineer what goes to taxes, what goes to insurance, what goes to principal, what goes to interest, and we just drop off the principal. Yeah, your payment is going to get lower, but you're not building equity except for appreciation. So when does it make sense? Well, you're betting on appreciation. Mm-hmm. And or you need to make it through a certain time with a lesser payment. Like you're like, I'm buying, but I'm also going to not have a job for a year. And then I'm going to have a really good job. And so I'm going to go interest only for a period of time. Investors will do it for the hold. We have one client who is like doing reverse mortgage. So that's a whole different thing. But when you're betting on the appreciation, the interest only loan could make sense.
What about in like you acquire a commercial asset? Interest only, you do your renos because you're not getting cash flow from the commercial because you're doing renos. You don't have a tenant in there paying rent. So you do the interest only for a term.
That's a good point. So Aiden's referring to a strategy called a BRRRR. So you buy, you renovate or rehab, refinance, and then rent it out. So in that period where you buy it and you're doing the renovations, why pay more than you need to? And let's say you buy for $500, you need to put a $200,000 into it of your own cash, or maybe it's borrowed and leveraged somehow. And then when you finish, you're $700 all in, but it's worth $1 million. Now you refi, and you can go to a traditional loan. So for that period of time, again, and it's more of an investor's play, an interest-only loan. Most people shouldn't play with fire. Most people, you should have a situation where you have to contribute to your principal because you can't bank on appreciation. Will it happen in Hawaii over the long term? Sure. But you're also going to pay more interest. It's not like we're going to learn in a minute what today's interest rates are. So Jody's going to come in, but it's not like if today's rate 6.5, they'll give you a 6.5 interest only. It's likely going to be more, right? So that's a good cue. We'll bring Jody in, talk about what the interest rate market's been doing.
Don't wear these headphones for a bit. They're very hot.
Dustin, we skipped Dustin?
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, we talked about subletting. Oh, he followed up? I was guessing where Dustin is from. I was right. See, this is a beautiful thing about Hawaii. We're not us guessing like where you're from because we know your last name. It's not no one's offended. It's like, yeah, it's a fun game we all play.
Yeah.
Subletting long term. Oh, here, I'll go with this some more for you.
Thank you.
Subletting long term. Owner's place is paid off and vacant for 3 years. Wants to leave it to son, so she doesn't want to sell. She doesn't want to deal with property managers or tenants. So are you going to act as like a property manager then? Are you going to rent it, Dustin? Or are you going to rent it to others and then share in that cash flow? Let us know. 2002. I grad 2002 as well. But But I have guarantee your husband, my in-laws, like guarantee we can start talking and we know some people. All right. So what are the interest? This is Jody Tonga, Pacific Rim Mortgage. What are the interest rates doing?
So I just looked at them.
Okay.
And conventionally, we're at about 7.25%.
Okay.
Yep. VA 6.25, and if it's above 1.149.
Oh, that's 7.25 to 6.25.
Yeah.
The spread is big, right now.
It's big right now.
Usually, it's more like half a point or 0.75.
Yep.
Yeah.
0.75 is my general.
But now it's one full
A full
interest
point,
rate.
which
point.
is, I mean, Actually, it's been that historically, like back in '08, you know, that those time periods, that's how much better government rates were.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I met a guy recently. He he had plenty of cash. He's a veteran. He bought conventionally because the 15-year on the
Yes.
conventional was better than the 15-year on the VA.
Right.
Not the 30,
And
but
that
the 15.
that used to, I mean, before the unicorn years,
Yeah.
the 15-year was considerably better than the 30. And now, I mean, that's going to be coming back a lot more now too.
Okay.
Because, you know, when 30-year rates are so low, it's hard for 15-year rates to be that much better.
Yeah, that
But-
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that has gone down. It went up a couple weeks ago, and now things have come down a little bit, at least for the VA side.
Yeah.
But for conventional, not so much. How about FHA? We don't do a ton of FHAs. How about for FHA?
6.25
So government,
0
is that
points.
typically government products are the same?
and USDA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did I-
Different rules, but same rate.
You wanna gossip and throw shade a little with me? No, we're not. It doesn't make it's not gonna make us look too bad.
Okay.
And you can just say no comment. But I referred a client to a friend of mine in California. I always refer people to the best agent. Just so happened this guy I really like was a great agent for this job.
Okay.
And so, and I interviewed him first and to make sure, are you sure you got this? Like, where you live? Like, how far is it? Who's gonna help you or whatever? And he's a great fit and he's done amazingly. However, the buyer, my friend from Guam, shout outs to Ronnie. It was a builder in California in which the builder just beat his lender's rate, you know, so that they used the builder's lender.
Yeah.
And the builder's lender got all the way to, so I guess in California, it's not like here where you sign like days in advance. They're signing like day before they close or something like that.
Yeah.
And so they get
Day of.
day of. Okay, so yeah, so they're supposed to close tomorrow and sign. This was a few days, like 2 weeks ago, but they were supposed to close. And then the lender realizes the day before closing, oh, this phase of the new development is not VA approved.
Oh my God.
So when he texted me what was going on, he's like, hey, you know, your clients, we refer, I respect that. I just want to give you a heads up in case they call you. I was like, I'm pretty sure this is like rookie 101 negligence.
Yeah.
But I'm going to call my lender and verify. So I called D, you know, the other Tonga.
Yep.
It was a weekend. And he was like, there's no way around it. That's just pure 101 rookie stuff.
100%.
And so it was the last home of the last phase. And so I guess previous phases had probably been VA approved. And they have like this is the difference too in having like a shop of lenders. So there's like lender 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 under the
Right.
same roof.
Right.
Versus you guys are like, it's you and on all loans overseeing it all. Then you have a team. And so on the other ones, there's probably just someone else did the VA approval other than this person, right?
Right.
And the person's probably newer. And on the previous 9 phases, they didn't have to do the VA approval. It's in like Corona, California. So there's not like a ton of VA, not a lot of military out there. And they got all the way to the closing date, no VA approval. That's crazy, right?
I mean, it's crazy, but it's not just the loan officer.
Who is it?
I mean, the loan officer, the underwriter.
Yeah.
The underwriter has like a little setup assistant that you
I wonder if
call
the
it.
builder is holding it like portfolio. But
I mean, there
but
were so
assuming
many.
they're brokering it to a
The
wholesale line.
appraiser,
Should the appraiser call?
100%.
Is that part? Like, is it
100%.
approved or not? Really?
Yes. It's going to be a term of the appraised value.
Right.
So on the appraisal report itself, it would say, I need evidence that the phase is VA approved.
Yeah.
And then on what's called the notice of value, they would have to get evidence to even get to loan documents that it's been VA approved.
Okay.
So there's so many.
Now we're same height.
Yeah.
Okay.
there's so many catches.
So how could that happen?
It's a big miss. Nobody was paying attention. It's in nobody's wheelhouse.
Everyone's asleep at the wheel?
Yeah. It's in everybody's wheelhouse, so it's in nobody's wheelhouse. It's it can happen.
That's crazy.
And
Sorry,
clearly
I'm
they
making
don't,
Kenji work
yeah.
behind
Yeah.
the
Clearly they don't do VA very often.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
There's no way that happened. Like with anyone who does VA regularly, right?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, just an interesting situation. Again, we're not talking about we don't know these people, but we know of the situation. There's no way around it. All right, Erica, can you talk a little bit on physician's loan in Hawaii, private lenders? What are the interest rates? So sometimes, Derek, now that Jody is next to you, you're looking swole, bro. Thanks. Are you saying that Aiden made me look small? He'll appreciate that wherever he went. All right, physician's loan. So correct me if I'm wrong. So sometimes physician's loans, a physician's loan product may have a better rate than the current conventional rate, or if that physician is pursuing some other loan, like you may be able to get favorable rates. But one of the bigger things that I've seen it do is allow a physician to purchase a home earlier than any other traditional loan product would allow them to. So when you buy a home, for most any loan product, most situations, you have to be moving into it within like the 60th day after closing. I've seen it where the physician's loan will allow 90 plus. And so the physician could buy the home way early. And so they're like, this unique home came up in this unique neighborhood, we want to pursue it. And only the physician's loan product would allow that.
And it's less than having a favorable rate, more so higher qualifications.
And employment history.
Correct.
Because like a resident could be going from fellowship to, being an attending.
Right.
And, their pay has been like 60 grand, 60 grand. And now all of a sudden it's 500,000.
Right.
And they don't need like 2 years of 500,000.
Correct. And sometimes they don't even need any, right, for the special physician's loans. They just need proof they're going to have the increase.
Yeah.
And another thing is going to be potentially a lower down payment requirement because
without
they
the
know,
PMI.
correct,
Yeah.
without the PMI.
Yeah. Erica, let us know. Reach out if you have more questions. Larry, thank you. Dustin, you're looking to rent to others. So we have an ongoing thread with Dustin, which is he wants to sublet someone else's home. I would do it all day. Like, let's say Jody is like, I have this unit just sitting. I don't want nothing to deal with it. Like, I just can't stand the thought of it. I don't even want to set myself up with a property manager. Derek, give me $500 a month. Go rent it for whatever you can. I don't care. I would take it. I'll go rent it long term, so it's less hassle, for $3,000 a month or whatever, and take the $2,500. Like, so if that's something that you have available to you, then yeah, why not? Go for it. You just have to when you're talking about shorter term renting, you got to make sure it's going to be worth your time.
And long term.
And long term. Long term
Period.
can take up your time as well.
And considering vacancies, considering whatever those
Leasing.
responsibilities that you're going to have as that subletter.
Yeah. Yeah. Meeting people and just leasing can be a lot. That's why property management, I understand, even like as an investor, I understand why doing property management, you might feel like if you're the owner, you're like, why am I going to pay 10%? That's ridiculous. It just might not do anything for a month, 2 months, 12 months, 18 months. But when I've been getting like $100 a month for just being on retainer for you, and then all of a sudden your tenant leaves the bathtub on and now I have to manage a renovation, that the time invested is not worth all property management ends up being a lot, but there's this disconnect between owner, consumer, and agent, and they can't see each other's approach to the business and the situation. It's hard to justify for some, not for all. So to Jody's point, consider your time and your efforts even long term. Where are you at in your family life, your professional life? Should you be taking on essentially another job?
Right.
Maybe no. That's right. Arm wrestle. Winner dinner tonight for the team. Jody has this unwavering confidence. She probably thinks she'll beat me in arm wrestling, but we won't do that here on camera for this one.
Arm wrestling, I can admit, I wouldn't beat you in.
Oh, really?
It might be the one.
The one thing?
The one thing.
That could beat you in?
Yeah.
Okay. Jody financed our first place. Dustin Matsura.
I thought so. Hi, Dustin.
I have bad credit. Haven't used it or checked in about a decade. 14,000 student loans, no other significant debts. What recommendations would you give to someone that wants to buy a $200,000 condo in 5 years? This can get into longer philosophical answers, but when I'm looking at someone who is combating debt, trying to build wealth, a place where a lot of young people find themselves, I think it's good, especially when you're young, to live as small as possible, drive the ghetto car, live in someone's basement, live at home, do all those things, those big things that save money. Also, try not to buy $8 lattes, but those are maybe not as big of a deal as, some people would say. We can do the math on that. 3 $8 lattes a week, and what does that equal? You'd be better off like living at home. Like that's a big savings.
Right.
And then
Did they say bad credit though?
They did say bad credit, so I'll let you address that. But for the money portion, I would say I found it much easier to grow, invest in myself, learn business and marketing and strategies and investing, and make more money. So play offense rather than defense. Mm-hmm. You can only shrink so much, but you can expand infinitely. And so while I'm not...
But I think a lot of people can shrink a lot.
Yeah. A lot of people are running fat, rich for no reason.
So you want to do both for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, I even talk to people that I'm like, they're like, oh yeah, I mean, that's just $600, and I'm like, oh, I mean, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
So definitely conserving and understanding and knowing your budget is huge, and cutting out what you can cut out. And it's going to be more than I think most people think. And then as far as generating a higher credit score, if you only have installment loans, which would be like a student loan, is an installment loan because it's like you owe a certain amount, you pay a monthly amount. At the end of paying the proper amount of that monthly amount, you're going to have zero. You're going to owe zero. So personal loan, car loan, student loan, those are installment loans. You're not going to ever, even if you never make a late payment, you're never going to generate a higher credit score because you're not giving the algorithm a reason to learn that you have the ability to use and pay back credit.
So student loans can harm your credit, but they can't really help it much.
Right.
Don't let me get into that, but okay.
Yeah. So first things first, you have to get some revolving credit in your name. The easiest way to do such would be to become an authorized user on a parent or a trusted sibling or a trusted friend. You never even have to have access to the credit card. And we're doing this right now.
We do it all the time throughout the year, but will they lower, like if I let someone go on my credit card, will they lower my credit score?
Absolutely not.
No?
No.
But it'll increase theirs.
100%.
At least there's one positive way to game the system.
Right.
Since they're giving it to you every other
Yeah,
way.
that's like the only way.
Okay.
So definitely find authorized credit, which is going to be what you're looking for there is going to be someone with the longest history.
Okay.
And someone that does use it, but that utilizes less than 30% of it and obviously does not make late payments. That's number one. Number two is going to be now that you've established credit, given the algorithm a reason to generate a higher credit score, which that's going to happen literally in 30 days. Then go get secured credit, which is go get your own credit. From a credit union, you just go and you deposit like $500, and no matter what, they'll give you or grant you credit. And then you use up to 50% of that regularly and then pay off monthly.
Can people consolidate their student loan by taking another loan to pay off the student loan? So You owe 30 grand. You somehow achieve a $30,000 PLOC or some like debt consolidation service gives you a consolidation loan and you pay that one off. Is that one good for your credit?
Yeah.
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 So might as well pay it off that way rather than pay it off the traditional way. I know the interest rate's probably different though.
Yeah, it just depends on your rate. If you happen to have a good federal funded student loan rate, or if you're in one of those unique situations where it might get forgiven.
Yeah.
Because I know people that did that and then they were like, it would have gotten forgiven.
Yeah, that's true.
So you never know, right, what the government's going to do in terms of like, oh, everyone that has a student loan gets to have it forgiven.
Yeah.
So once you convert it out of that vehicle, it's not like you can be like, well, I can prove it used to be a student loan, so now I don't owe this.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. All right. If we don't have any other questions, I'll see if Jody has anything to leave us with, and we're gonna get out of here. Derek, your par from the little island, Alameda, California. Mike Wallace. Half a day, par. That's right. Arm wrestle. Winner buys dinner tonight for the team. Thank you. We'll reach out to you. We're planning a move to Oahu from Vermont sometime, but buy something sooner if we get it at a good price point. Well, Erica, reach out to us. Never going to pressure you. Also, I'll be very honest about whether or not a good price point on the thing you're looking for is going to come, right? So you might want like the nicest, most coveted area of the nicest, most coveted neighborhood, and you want prices for the D-class neighborhood or whatever. And we should be realistic about what the chances of that are and talk about timing it versus not timing it. I'm not a big timer, but if I were searching for a deal, which I am because I'm going to 1031 my property, how
much are you going to sell it for? Ballpark.
1.3.
Yeah.
1.3.
But there are townhouses in a part of Ko'olina Fairway, something that are more in the 800s?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hillside.
Fairway Hillside.
Or no, Ko'olina Hillside Villas.
Oh, Ko'olina Hillside Villas.
Yeah, Fairways is long term. You can't do 30 day.
Got it.
But Hillside and the other. Hillside's the least expensive one that you can. Yeah. All right, guys. Jody, any market thoughts or anything to leave us with?
Well, I guess I would leave us with the fact that rates are extremely volatile. I mean, it's just like we've gotten to the point where, yesterday I quoted a 6.125, offers went out, and today it's a 6.25. So it's never fun, and it's obviously really fun when it's moving in the other direction.
Yeah.
But we try to provide a level of accuracy and real-time information, and that flows both ways. So it's just to say that there is so much going on, macro, international, and it's just really moving. The 10-year, the delta in the 10-year just between today and yesterday is over a quarter. In 12 hours.
That's how much it moved.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm typing about this conversation is stimulating. I need to text you and your two siblings.
Okay.
About
Yeah. So just to say that, I mean, having a good informative lender that's going to be giving you real-time information, but also realizing that the information we're giving you is real-time, it's up to the minute, and rates go up. So
that's one of the unfortunate things about being a lender is, well, it's nice when things are going down, rates are going down. And if you were second in the door and the other person quoted 6 and now you quote 5.5, it's like makes you look amazing, right?
Right.
But then it's unfortunate when rates were 5.5 and now they're 6 and you're the second person talking to this person.
Right.
And they're like, wow, you're way off. The lender can't lock the rate. There's one little caveat to this, but for most intents and purposes, the lender cannot lock your rate until there's an accepted contract. There's 5 elements, I believe, that the Code of Federal Regulation puts in place that all these things have to exist. And so one of them is an accepted offer. And so they can't lock you in at today's rate until that. And so there are times where your team and my team are collaborating super closely. We're like, hey, rates are going to be going up tomorrow. Like, how's this offer? Might be better to stop negotiating and just say yes and get it accepted so we can lock it before tomorrow.
Absolutely.
There are these things. There is also an instance, which is why I just texted. But I'm wrong. Yeah. Okay. So there's also an instance where, like, this one buyer isn't going to be in escrow for like 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And we all understand that while that's unfortunate, the potential benefit is that rates could go down. And if at the right time where we still have time to re-app him,
Right.
then we'll call him and say, hey, we're going to move your loan somewhere else. Or not we, but you guys would move their loan so that they can get a better rate.
Yep.
So it's a day-to-day thing. And the lender who is telling you, this is our rate, well, one, they can't know. And we're not in a market where rates have been the same for years and years. And so they can't know exactly. So if they're not being clear that it's quoted and assumed, then that's not entirely clear. And also, what is the entire picture? Like, what do you have to pay to get that rate?
Right.
Oh, well, no points. Yeah, well, okay, what about origination fee? Like, call it what you want to call it.
Right.
How much does it cost for you to get that potential rate that may not even be the rate tomorrow?
Right.
Yeah.
And just understanding, like, I try to, in our consults, our normal process, I try to talk about, long-term, medium-term, short-term goals. I try to share about all the different steps that we take to make sure that we're crossing T's and dotting I's, and that we're learning your information so that we're not gonna be putting you in a bad position strategically.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of stuff that we do, and then offers go in, and then sometimes diligence happens. To me, I try to share early, and I would share this regardless of if you're working with us or not. Like, talk to the different lenders, figure out how they operate, figure out how they work as a team or as an individual. What happens if you need something on the weekend or at night? And how do they work with your realtor? And then decide who you're working with, upon your due diligence, and that's who you're working with.
Yeah.
Of course, if something happens and we screw up, then that obviously switch. But I mean, in terms of like sticking with us and then getting into escrow and then calling 5 other lenders the day that you get into escrow, to me, that's not necessarily the right timing.
That's not a good way to do business. Yeah, it's not a good way to do business.
I don't know how we got on that, but
Yeah. Well, because rates move a lot, and I think that's what got us on
oh
there.
yeah, that is what. Yeah, because it doesn't feel good, and we don't want to give you a higher interest rate, but we're giving you the rate that it is.
Right. And the way that we got started working together was your rates were worlds better than this other lender that I had started to build a relationship with when I wasn't doing as much. And then, so that's how that happened. Jody, is it a good idea to get pre-approved right now? Handle that. Bro, you still don't
Handle
tell us
that.
who you are, the mysterious handle that. Who's an agent but won't tell us. Apparently follows me on Instagram. Jody, is it a good idea to get pre-approved right now just to see how much we can afford, even if we don't plan to buy right now?
If that's information that you feel like would be valuable to you and would help you to decision make for the future, absolutely. I mean, if you're going to change certain expenditures or make certain maneuvers in order to change the future of what you're going to qualify for, but you're only going to learn that by gathering the information and knowing what you qualify for now, then you're going to be only taking a step in the right direction.
Here's the thing. Give me a Harvard study. Give me a Stanford, psychology graduate class or, group or something. And we're going to go out and we're going to pick in the community 100 18-year-olds, from the same town and 100 18-year-olds from the same town. So it'll be 200 total. If one of the study groups gets pre-approved twice a year, whether they're going to buy or not, but they have a conversation with a loan officer twice a year, and one doesn't, I guarantee you that the one that gets pre-approved all the time ends up worth more 30 years later, a lot more, like lots and lots more. Because if a percentage more of people buy homes and are educated and are aware of their credit and, you know, considering certain strategies and just their mindset's different and then their decisions are different, and then they jump in the river and experience that appreciation at a higher clip than the other group, they're just going to be worth more. So that's a elaborate way to say you should always get pre-approved, or you should always have a conversation with a lender, a financial professional. Like, always be checking up on yourself.
Yep.
So, all right, guys, that's it. We're out. We will see you next week. Go to coreteamhawaii.com. Go to the very bottom.